Yar, and welcome to Wizards of the Tower.
Roleplay.
In this episode, we be talking Pirate Borg,
Pirate Borg.
a new adventure game by Limithron. Yar, matey, welcome to Wizards of the Tower.
Roleplay.
Or maybe it's Ship of the Line.
Ship of the Line. Pirates on the Main.
Pirate Borg
Yeah.
is what we be talking about.
Yeah.
So, this is a new game. Came out of Kickstarter. These actually just released during Talk Like a Pirate Day. And we actually have two books. We have the collector's book. We have the regular book.
Can I see that?
Yeah. This is by Limithron.
Limithron. Okay.
Luke. And I want to say
See that.
Stanton.
Jolly Roger on there.
Or is it Stratton?
And
I know it's Luke. I had to know it. Oh, Luke Stratton. That's right.
okay.
I had to know that because Luke and I had played in a online Oak and Iron game during COVID, right after Oak and Iron had released, and Luke, I always knew was a fairly good artist.
Great
But
illustrations.
he wrote this game and has illustrated this, and this is based upon the system of
Maps.
what you might say MÖRK Borg, but it's actually MÖRK Borg. It's a Swedish, dark, very grimdark fantasy RPG.
So, you talk about it a lot, hon.
Yes.
Explain to me a little bit about how Pirate Borg works.
Pirate Borg is what they call the OSR, or Old School Renaissance.
Okay.
And it's a way to get back to a not so heavily crunchy system like Dungeons and Dragons 5e or Pathfinder
Okay.
or Warhammer and
Okay.
many of these other over-the-top RPGs. It's
Okay.
very stripped down, it's very easy, it's very quick to learn,
Okay.
and you use your same dice.
Mhm.
So you got your 4, your 6, your 8, your 10, your 12. Don't think the percentile's used. I haven't seen it used.
All right.
But it's an RPG where you play a pirate, or there are expanded rules to where you might be able to play a rat or a monkey or a mermaid. You can even play possibility of playing undead.
Yeah, okay. But so
So basically think of it as Pirates of the Caribbean episodes 1,
2 and 3.
2, and 3.
Okay. When we come to the game mechanics, and
Yes.
this is a thing that you talk about a lot, we all, we're Pathfinder players. We've played some D&D 3.5. Delaney's been playing D&D since the very beginning.
Well, not very beginning, but close enough.
Close enough. When it comes to rules and how Pirate Borg functions, explain to me how it's simplified from a regular role-playing game.
So what's really great about Pirate Borg is you have a target number. And, when you have Pathfinder or 5e, you'll have an armor class of, say, 15. And you have to roll the d20, you got to add in your strength, you got to add in this modifier and that modifier to see if you get to that hit that AC of 15, or
Yeah.
maybe the monster's got a 20.
Yeah.
So now you got to hit the armor class of 20, or maybe it's a 30, and now you get to hit a 30. And it's this very complex system. Where in Pirate Borg you have a target of usually it's 12. So when it comes to attacking somebody, you roll a 20-sided dice. You add in your strength modifier, and as
Okay.
long as you roll a 12 or higher, you succeed.
Okay.
And if you succeed, then you roll your dice, your
Right.
damage, and whether it's a 1d, or 1d2 points of damage, or 1d6 points of damage, or 2d4 points of damage, if you're using your muskets or your pistols, and you can't just fire, 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 fire. If you fire your pistol or your musket, you fire, and then you have to spend the next turn 2 actions reloading.
Well, sure.
So it's not this over the top, so somebody can come in and start whacking on you.
Okay, now, one of the ways that you've described how the game is played is that it's very descriptive and very role-play heavy.
Yeah, it's very, very role-play heavy. So let's say you're attacking the skeleton pirate.
Okay.
And there's a lot of undead in this. There's zombies, there's skeletons, there's basically almost Call of Cthulhu pirates.
Okay.
And you want to, let's say you've got your 2 ships here. And let's say you are over here attacking this ship and you want to get back over to your ship and you've got a rope. Well, how are you going to get over there? So let's say, well, I'm taking the rope and I'm kicking off and swinging all the way out and around and coming back around to try and kick the enemy that's over here. Okay, I'll give you a target of 14 to do that because it's kind of tricky. Okay, you roll your dice, you roll 14 or higher, and if you roll 14 or higher, you do it. So basically, it's what you imagined it, and then your DM says, okay, you knock the person down and you've got advantage.
Okay.
Another example of that is, so we were fighting in one of my last games, we were fighting these pygmy type creatures, and one of them tried to attack me, and in that respect, I had to roll my defense, which was a 12 or higher. If I rolled a 12 or higher, plus my 12 plus my agility.
Okay.
And as long as I got 12 or higher, I avoided him. And I rolled a nat 20, which is a critical success.
Okay.
So, which meant that the creature missed me, but I got a free attack when I did that. And the game master, or harbor master as they're called, said, well, what does that look like? And I said, well, as he jumps over the top of me, I've got my pistol in this hand, which I just fired, and I've still got my cutlass in this hand, and I swing upwards, and I hit him, and I did X amount of damage. It's like, okay, he died, and I said, so when he died, basically part of his body goes over here, and his upper body lands at my feet. So it was very descriptive and very role-play heavy.
So what is the world like?
Well, it's the Caribbean, and it's dark. And it's not a matter of if you die. It's a matter of...
It's not just dark. It always takes place at night.
No. It's grim dark.
Yeah.
So there's, like I said, there's zombies. There's undead. There are vampires. There are Cthulhu-like creatures.
Okay.
And there are rules to make your own monsters if you want.
Okay.
So it's a darker real world.
Yeah.
And it takes place in the Caribbean. So they call it the Dark Caribbean.
Sure.
And there's this stuff called ash, which is a drug, which people hunt skeletons to make ash with.
Okay.
And ash, if you ingest ash, it gives you magical powers.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to character creation, you roll everything. You don't say, well, I'm going to play a buccaneer. You start off.
Is it a random roll?
It's all a random roll.
Okay.
Which is really kind of fun. So then you're not going to say, well, I'm going to play. You got this person that's always going to play the wizard, or the person that's always going to play the fighter. So you start off with in your character generation. Usually you start off with like your equipment. And you roll a... So for this one, okay, create your character. So you roll a d6.
Really amazing illustration.
And your d6 is your container. So maybe it's a backpack.
Okay.
And then you roll your d20, which is your cheap gear.
Okay.
Maybe it's 30 feet of rope. And then you roll another d20, which is your fancy gear. So maybe it's a whetstone. Okay? You then turn to your ability scores. And instead of having the score of 18 or 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, you roll your 3d6, and instead of putting those numbers down of 18, whatever you roll, you just put the modifier. So whether it's a minus or up to a +3 if you have an 18. And then your abilities are strength, agility, presence, toughness, and your spirit. So your strength is if you're fighting melee, and your presence is if you're fighting with a ranged weapon. So whether you're firing cannons or you're firing your musket or your pistol. Now my character, when I first started off, she had a net. And it was a trusty net. It would never break. And it had a name. So she called it Net Low instead of Ned Low. And I described it as being, since it does 1d2 points of damage, I described that she had shells hooked onto it and bones. So that way if she hits you with it, it would do, it would explain some of the damage.
Sure. Scratch you up.
And in the first adventure, we killed somebody and I ran up and picked up their cutlass and carried that around. So she picked that up and now she fights with a cutlass and she keeps Net Low wrapped around her waist like a sash in case she needs it.
Right.
And then she got enough coin from the adventure that she bought herself 2 pistols and she carries them on a ribbon around her neck, and she'll carry her cutlass in one hand and fire off her pistol, drop that, grab the other one, and then when she needs to, then she'll duck and start reloading.
Gotcha.
Now, when she started off with her equipment, all she had was rags. She didn't have fancy clothing or armor or anything.
Yeah.
And she started off with a cavalier hat.
Okay.
So you roll your clothing and then your hat. And your clothing can stop some of your damage. So it can stop 1 to 2 points or sometimes more than that, depending.
Now, are these the factions? Brethren of the Coast, Republic of Pirates, the British,
They are loosely based
the French Indies?
factions. Now, you don't actually roll for that. You can say that maybe you're Spanish or maybe you're... So in one of the so your classes are, you have a brute,
Okay.
which is what my character is.
Right.
So she's really strong,
Right. Okay.
but she's really attractive. Her feat was, she was so handsome that everyone is jealous, which is a rare thing. You might be missing an eye, you might smell, whatever. So she's a brute.
Okay.
And if she kills somebody, she can do more damage the next attack.
Okay, so what's the next one?
The next one is the Rapscallion.
Rapscallion, all right.
And you have different feats that you roll, or skills that you start off with. You have the Buccaneer.
Buccaneer, yeah.
You have the Swashbuckler.
Yep.
And then you have the Zealot.
Wow.
You have the Sorcerer,
Yeah.
which is kind of like your Marie Laveau. And then, if you want, you can add in like a Haunted Soul. So in our last adventure, we had 2 people die, but they fell into a magical pool. One of them came back as a skeleton, and the other one came back as a conduit.
Okay.
For Eldritch.
Okay.
And then you can get into the other classes, so maybe a mermaid or a monkey or a bilge rat. The bilge rat is kind of fun. That if you bite somebody, that you might give them you might disease them, and then they keel over and die.
Yep.
Crocodile even, and then of course you start off. You got your weapons, and what weapons, and then you're very, very basic for what you can buy.
So it looks like it's really basic, and it looks like it's really player heavy, meaning that you determine exactly what you're going to be doing, when you're going to be doing, and the harbor master just kind of guides you along.
Yes.
And so it's really player story centered.
Yeah.
So
very much.
To me, I will admit, okay, I have not been playing D&D or Pathfinder for a long time. And I will admit, I do not know the rules. The last time we played, we got into an argument about damage and how complex damage was when you
critical hit.
When you critical hit and you crit twice, and how much damage you have. So to me, I'm a real story person. I love stories. I've read hundreds of books, movies, oral histories, whatever. I love stories. So to me, a game like this would appeal because it's very story heavy, and the rules are just basically there as guidelines to kind of keep you on track and to keep track of damage done, damage taken, characteristics, levels, whatever. Basically, though, you're living out the story, which it's almost like a live-action role play in the sense that you're working it out as you go.
Now, in leveling in this, if your harbor master does leveling.
Yeah.
And with our harbor master for the game that I've been playing is at the end of the adventure we have this checklist.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do something piratey? And so I've had it in both games. There was one where I swung from the last game. I swung from the ship,
Yeah.
and what had happened was there was a ship that we were on that was a derelict,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to investigate it. And when we were on board, we got attacked by these pygmies,
Right.
and we were and one of them was really big, and we were trying to get back to our ship so we could escape because there was yet another ship coming in to attack us. And one of the players, Lucky Lucy, who only had 2 hit points,
Uh-huh.
was below her. I was up on here in the foredeck, and she was down below. And I said, okay, so what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the rope that we came across on, and I'm grabbing slack, so that way when I push off with my feet, I'm going to see if I can grab Lucky and swing across the other ship. Well, I missed. I failed the target.
Oh.
And so I didn't grab Lucky, but Lucky got to make her turn, and Lucky rolled the dice that said, okay, I'm going to grab the rope as Nocturne, that's my character's name, Nocturne, swings back across, she grabs the rope, and we both make it over to our ship and start fighting the enemies that had boarded our ship, and then we defeated them and we started sailing off.
Gotcha.
Now, why are these 2 ships here? Well, if you're playing larger scale, now these are from Blood and Plunder.
Blood and Plunder, yeah.
Right.
Nice ships.
Which are the scale that you would use. Now,
yeah, because these are regular figures right here.
28 millimeter figures.
Yeah, these are regular 28 millimeter figures, and you did such a great job painting them.
That's my Anne Bonny.
Yeah, your Anne Bonny
Yeah.
is fantastic. Little racy there with the blouse tore open, and
Yeah.
but that's
yeah.
okay.
And so you could use these for your. You don't have to use these, of
These are
course.
so cool. I forgot that you had actually worked on these.
Yeah, that's Captain Jack.
Did you paint this?
Yes, I painted Captain Jack. If you notice, he's got the calico on his jacket.
My gosh, that's beautiful. I didn't realize that. Folks, I don't know if you can see, but
Well,
look at the
we'll
detail.
take a picture.
Wow, I forgot that Delaney had painted these. Wow.
So, anyway, you don't have to use these ships. This is for, but if you were using the regular scale, and Pirate Borg can really be mind's eye. You really don't have to use the miniatures. Now, when it comes to ship combat, you'll notice there's 2 smaller ships here. These smaller ships are from Oak and Iron, which are from Firelock Games. And you move them along a hex. And you have X amount of hex. Now, when you get into a combat, you have crew actions. So you can have a person doing cannons, a person doing small arms, which is basically your chaser. You've got a person doing the navigating and sailing.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a person who's trying to do repairs. And I think there's one or 2 other ones. So everybody is doing something during the game.
Yeah.
And once again, these are Oak and Iron ships, but you can also use an old Pirates of the Spanish Main. I've got a whole book here. These are pop-out cards.
Oh yeah, there's all pop-out cards.
Yeah.
Tons of them.
These little cards that you
Well,
pop
you basically cardboard. You assembled the ships
out.
out of
Plastic.
pieces of cardboard.
Yeah,
and
they're plastic, and you just
Yeah,
pop them out
pop
and
them out,
stick them together.
stick 'em together.
And
Yeah,
these
like
are the
that.
same scale.
Yeah.
And Luke, when he did the game, designed it for these because he had some of these. And
Yeah.
you can use these for your pirate ships or for your ghost ships because there are ghosts.
These are pretty cool.
And we have a bunch of Oak and Iron ships.
Yeah,
That's why
these
we
are
do
neat.
it. And then,
Yeah.
of course, we've got a few Blood and Plunder. We've got actually quite a few Blood and Plunder ships, but only
Yeah.
2 of them that are done
Yeah.
without sails because sails kind of get in the way. But anyway, I initially was going to Kickstarter this, and I decided not to. And then I saw it released, and I ordered the collectors. This is the collector's book. This is only going to be around for a short time. And a few other things that Luke had, like there's the Pirate Borg cards, which have the ships. It has magical items. It's got creatures.
Oh yeah, it's got weapons,
It's got
creatures.
things to make it easier for your harbor master.
It's got galleons, pistols, and a ghost
Right.
captain.
This is all the stats for your ship. How many hull points they
This
have.
is so cool.
The
Great
artwork is
illustration.
cool.
Yeah.
And then
Did he hand draw these?
he did.
Wow.
He's quite the artist.
Wow. I
And
love
then,
stuff like that.
And then the other thing that I got was the character sheets.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and you don't have to buy these. You can get them and print them out.
Oh, these are really cool.
Yeah, very simple.
Look how simple, folks. Okay.
Very simple.
Very simple. This appeals to the simplicity that I like of games, because I believe that games should be very story heavy, very
Right.
player heavy, and they shouldn't be bogged down.
Most adventures can be done in 3 to 4 hours typically.
Why would you want them to only last 3 to 4 hours?
Well-
Let's make them last all night.
Of course. Well, you can do whole campaigns, and
Sure.
that's kind of what we're doing
Sure, yeah.
in the Roll20.
Good.
And then at our local Pirate Fest, the North Glen Pirate Fest, I was kind of just hoping that maybe Pirate Borg would be there, but I totally forgot about it. And we're walking around, and I saw the sign Pirate Borg, and I beelined it.
It was pretty cool.
I beelined it
Yep.
to
Yep.
Pirate Borg, and
Yeah.
actually got to meet Luke in person. Now I didn't have my collector's book, so he says, "Well, come back the next day and sign it." Well, we had other plans for the next day,
Yeah.
so I said, "I'll one up you. I'll buy another book." Luke signed it to the Scarlet Raven,
Arr.
Limithron. Long live the brethren!
Yarr.
And that's because Luke and I served together in the Oak and Iron online campaign as pirates, the brethren. And then I ended up buying, this is Buried in the Bahamas. This is a very simple adventure. There's a little map.
A little canned adventure.
All the stats that you need that's going on for this adventure. Everything you need for the adventure is all right there. This is cool. This is another adventure. This whole map is nothing but an adventure.
Oh, it's a map on one side, but the adventure stats on the other.
Yep, there's your map.
Oh, that's really cool.
And he, like I said, he drew that.
Yeah, a map on one side,
And all the adventure stuff on the
and
other
all
side.
the adventure stats on the back side. Pretty cool.
And then
Wow, I love these illustrations.
Yep.
They're great.
Deadsman's Cove. And this is just a real quick little brochure. This is a whole adventure right here.
Nice.
Ship combat. And then each book comes with the Dark Caribbean map, which you can see, it's the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the back side, there's a map for an adventure. And of course, some cool stickers that
Yeah,
we got.
some great
from-
stickers. They're really cool.
This one glows in the dark.
Yeah.
So, Pirate Borg, I am absolutely loving this game. I've played 2 adventures online in Roll20. The Pirate Borg Discord, there are where to find games, and that's I when I saw this, it's like I love pirates. Tom and I love pirates. We used to run a pirate website.
We had a
And a pirate YouTube
yeah,
channel.
We had a pirate YouTube channel with over 100 episodes, and I mean, true. It's sad that it never really went anywhere because pirate stuff, waxes and wanes according to how society is, and movies and books and stuff. But we were passionate about it. We have a pirate library with dozens of books right there of history and fiction. We love pirate stuff.
Yeah.
We truly do. And this fits in. This ticks a lot of my boxes. 1, pirates. 2, adventures. 3, supernatural. 4, easy.
Storytelling.
Storytelling. Easy.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I'm trying to get our group to play Pirate Borg, and I'm having kind of a hard time.
I am on board.
And I know Josh is on board.
Okay, that's 2. So there's your crew right there.
Yep.
So if we can get Harbor Master and 2 crew to start with,
Yep.
we're going there.
Yep. We are
I'm
going
cool
to do
with it.
this.
Yeah.
I like the random generator of the characters. And there are online generators that you can use for pirate. Just you hit the button and boom, you've got the character sheet with all the stats and all your equipment and everything else. It's so simple. It's not even funny.
Yeah, good.
And the Discord site I notice grows every day, and Luke is planning another Kickstarter to add on for more Pirate Borg, maybe more classes or whatever. Once again, it is based upon. Now we call it Pirate Borg, and you have MÖRK BORG, even though it says MÖRK Borg, which is a very grimdark, and this is exactly the same. This plays out exactly the same way
The book's
as
a little
Pirate
thinner.
Borg. It is a little bit thinner.
But, it looks like it's very simple, too, with nice illustrations.
Yeah.
And to me, this looks good, too. This looks like...
It's very dark.
Very simple, very easy to get into. And the thing is, okay, how complex do you want it to be? How far do you want it to be? How far do you want the game to go?
Right.
Are you going to have side quests? Are you going to have an overarching quest? Is everything going to be little short canned adventures, or is it going to be a big recurring adventure?
Yeah. Our first adventure that I did was 3 hours. The next one we did was 4, and it ran over. And we were hoping it was going to only be 3, but it ran 4, and we ended up kind of cutting it a little bit short.
Yeah.
But it was a blast. I had a ton of fun in both those adventures.
Good.
These are the kind of adventures that, to me, are memorable.
Yeah.
More so than some of the Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons games or whatever games.
Yeah.
Because it's pirates. I love pirates.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about pirates.
Yeah. Really cool stuff.
And it's simple. You don't have to have all this stuff to do it. You can do Mind's Eye.
Mm-hmm.
You can find online games. If you're interested in Pirate Borg, look it up. I'll even put the links down below.
Yeah.
Of all the stuff. Luke has got a patron site with tons of maps. If you're doing, you can get into. You can use them for Roll20 and Alchemy and other things. His artwork is just top.
It's
notch.
really great.
What's funny was somebody was ripping on his art, and Tom, who's an art major, says that's great. It suits what you're doing.
Exactly,
and
it
that's
does.
the point.
Yeah, D&D art suits D&D. Okay, pirate art suits piratey adventure.
Yeah.
It should be sort of lurid. It should be sort of comic based. It should be very, very explicit. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay, it's made for pirates. It's made for that kind of campaign.
Yeah.
All right. So
random generators in there to make crews, to make monsters. There's an adventure in this, the Nameless Temple, the Caracas Beast, Coral Town, which is where I started my first adventure, was in Coral Town, with the undead attacking. And then some of the NPCs like Captain Davies, and we've been dealing a lot with Captain Davies. Skeleton Point, Uncharted Islands. It's just endless. So I would highly recommend Pirate Borg. If you love pirates, if you love simplicity, it's dark. It's not a matter of if you're gonna die. It's a matter of when you're gonna die. My character, I've got 12 hit points, so she's on the upper level.
good.
And you don't really have levels. You can level. If you level, whether you get more, you put it towards hit points, or maybe you take it to an ability, or whatever. It's not like you're gaining all this stuff all of the time.
Yeah.
So it's not so much bloat. So Pirate Borg.
Good deal.
Highly recommend it. So with that, like, share, subscribe, stab that subscribe button, ring the bell, ding, 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 because we're pirates, and that's what we say. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Wizards of the Tower.
Role play.
May all your sailing adventures be epic, and
Keep
may
on
your
rolling.
sails always be filled.
Keep on rolling.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks, folks.